Okay, into a dive into the Yoga Sutras, looking at the practice of yoga, Kriya Yoga, what it is. We've been doing that, and we looked at there's certain obstacles to practice, and the third sutra on the portion of on practice states that what are the obstacles to practice, right? What are the obstacles to practice? Ignorance is the first one. Egoism is the second one. Attachment is the third. Hatred is the fourth. And clinging to bodily life is the fifth. Clinging to bodily life. So all of those five are then later explained more deeply. I want to focus on the first one of ignorance. Ignorance, this is an important one. Because here, and also clinging to bodily life. Clinging to bodily life. We all cling to bodily life. And yoga says that that is a hindrance. I want to be in my best health ever. I want to be in my best shape ever. I want to have flexible legs. I want to have strong muscles. That's clinging to bodily life. It's what we do. It's what we do. It's not. So I don't want to shame anybody for clinging to bodily life. It's just kind of the natural thing. However, yoga says that this clinging needs some attention, and we need to look at it because it's an obstacle to the practice of yoga. It's an obstacle. What does it mean to be an obstacle? Well, what are we trying to see? And the practice of yoga leads to a diminishment of these hindrances and to samadhi. Now, the Buddhist tradition and the Zen tradition, there's a saying by one Soto Zen master, Uchiyama Kosho Roshi. He says, Tenchi ippai no shome. Ippai means it's like after you eat a meal, you feel full. Ippai, I'm full. Tenchi is heaven and earth, and it has a sense of the whole universe, the whole universe. Ten being, or heaven being this guiding principle in this life. Tenchi ippai no shome, the life that fills the entire universe. That's you and me. That's our big self. That's what we call in Buddhism the big self. That we are more than just this body, that we are the whole universe. In fact, we fill the entire universe. And ignorance in the Yoga Sutras is referring to that lack of seeing of our true self, that lack of seeing the true self. So all of your anxieties about your personal life just get washed away when we come from this really big view. Yoga helps us to lessen these hindrances, the ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, and clinging to bodily life. All right. So that's the big context. That's the big context for our practice. Now we do it. We do the hatha portion of that practice. So let's just, here we are. We're clinging to bodily life every time we stretch out and we're thinking, oh, okay. All right. And at the same time, stretching, yoga, hatha yoga, as we're doing it here, is helping us to let go of that clinging to bodily life by moving towards the stiffness, the tightness. In some cases, in some other cases, it's moving away from those pains, those aches. It's getting to know the body, right? It's getting to understand how the body operates so that we can let it go. So that not so that it can run smoothly, so that we can be healthy, right? So let's make some circles here, holding on to our knees, making some circles. We've got to move our body. We've got to exercise our body. There's just no way around it. And earlier peoples, before the modern age, were moving a lot more than we are. Hence the need for gyms, for yoga studios, and all of that. All right? So we've got to move the body. That's how we get to understand the true self, through movement of the body. We see the limits of our body and know that we are more than those limits. right, so making a circle. All right, whatever you're feeling in your back, your hips, upper legs. Let's make a pause for a second and go the opposite way. Let's turn it the other direction. Getting in touch with our physical body helps to reduce greatly anxiety. Right? And this anxiety is also, I consider, one of the biggest hindrances in the modern age. There's so much anxiety that we also it keeps that bigger view of the self obscured. We remain in ignorance when our mind is clouded with when our mental vision is clouded with anxiety. And so by being present in your body, you are diminishing the presence of anxiety inside of you. There's something to keep in mind. All right, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. All right, move the trunk around. All right, in a circle, making a circle. All right, and then coming onto the hands and knees. Cat cow. Cat cow. All right. Undulation. The undulation of the spine. All right, it's almost like you're making a wave motion with your spine. Right. All right, and then sitting back on the heels, I'm curling my toes under my feet, making my knees a little wider as I do this, just to create a little bit more space in the hips. You can bring your knees out as wide as you can on the mat, and that gives a little hip opener. And then sliding the hands forward for child's pose. All right, stretching out the shoulders a bit, breathing. All right, just walking the hands up towards the top of the mat. Taking some deep breaths here. Ah. Now, let's walk the hands to the left side of the mat. We can kind of walk the head also. Lift the head up and kind of walk it towards the left side of the mat. Get a nice stretch into the right side. Okay, and then walking the hands back over to the center. And now let's lift the head going over to the right side of the mat. Get a left stretch to the left side. All right, and back to center and kind of lifting the head up. Let's slide the feet towards the legs. Swing the feet around to the front of the mat or to the front of your body. All right, let's swing the feet around and just take a moment to sit up straight. Use your hands and arms to help you find a straight back so that you make an L shape with your body. And then let's circle the feet around the ankles a few times. And the other direction. Okay, all right. And then pointing the toes towards your body to stretch the calf muscles, and then the other way, pointing away from your body. Pointing towards your body a few times. Pointing towards your body and away from your body. Go back and forth there. All right. And let's lift the arms up towards the ceiling, keeping that L shape with the body, and then folding over both legs. Let the hands down, around the back, tuck the chin, and just kind of let the back open up naturally without force. Let the neck muscles relax a little bit, shoulders relaxing a little bit. All right, and then sitting back up, we'll swing the feet around, coming back to all fours, and this time stretch out. Lift one knee off the ground, the other knee stays on the ground. Just kind of draw that heel towards the floor and then switch to the other leg. So just stretching out the calf muscles a little bit. And then lifting up to downward dog, we can continue to walk the heels in place. Take your time here. There's no, how fast you move your heels, how fast you pedal your feet is up to you. And shake the head out a little bit. All right, move around. Move. You can bend your knees alternately or together at the same time. All right. Get a sense of your shoulders too by lifting your tailbone up, dropping your shoulders down towards the mat. To stretch out those arms and armpits there, the shoulders there. Okay, and then let's walk the feet to the hands. And here, let's step the right foot back. Once the feet are towards the front of the mat, we'll step the right foot back, come to a low lunge. Rocking here a little bit, that hip, rocking the hip forward and backward. I should say rocking the trunk forward and backward. But the resulting muscles that really get attention and energy and energized are the left hip, a little bit less so with the right hip, as well as the left hamstring, just under the thigh, the left hamstring. So here, what you could do is lift the toes up and lean back a little bit here. And that gives a nice stretch to the hamstring, which is, gets so little attention, especially when we're sitting in chairs all day long. This hamstring gets tight. And then the result is that our low back gets tight and we get problems with our back. So let's work on stretching that hamstring out a little bit just by gently rocking here, just a gentle rocking. Feel that tightness in that hamstring as you lean back. Right? All right. And then forward a little bit. You can feel the hips stretching alternately with the hamstring. Now, if you're having trouble with your right knee, if that's hard on the ground, you can put a cushion under there if that's helpful for you. All right, now let's switch the legs. We can come into downward dog. Just give the knees a little rest here. Again, stretch the shoulders, the armpits, the calf muscles, even the hamstrings get a little stretch in downward dog. Okay, and then stepping the right foot forward, coming down on the left knee, and a nice rocking here of the trunk. Left hip and the right hip get stretched here. Right. See what you feel. And sometimes one hip is tighter than the other, and so we start to notice that in here. But okay, let's Also, remember to rock backwards so that we get the hamstring engaged and pulled, right? The belly of the muscle is what we're aiming for, not where the muscle meets the joint or the ligament and tendons. We want to stretch the belly of the muscle. So focus on that, the middle, the center of the hamstring, which is between, for our purposes, it's between the knee and the hip joint at the back of the leg. So that's where the majority of the sensation we want to feel is that um, the center between the knee and the hip. That's where we want to feel the majority of sensation happening here in our leg. All right, and then, again, feel free to go forward and backward a little bit. Okay, and let's return to down dog. We'll do a little hip opener here in just a sec. Let's go into downward dog. All right, really make sure your fingers are spread wide, your elbows are straight and tight. Shoulders are doing the bulk of the work here. Pushing into the hands, tucking the chin. All right, then we're going to step the left foot forward. Left foot comes forward now, and uncurl your right foot. Bring your left hand on the inside of the left leg, and now you can stay here on your hands, or you can drop onto your elbows. But see I'm already getting a lot of stretch just staying here on my hands. Let me turn my mat. Maybe this will be easier to see this way. Right? Right, just letting that left knee kind of come down a little bit. Right, and that's a nice, real nice stretch here. Work on extending your back. Work on extending your back. Now, some people might want to experiment with one thing. You can step your foot out a little bit. Your left foot, you can kind of step it out a little bit if you want to, keeping your toes on the ground. That's one way to experiment with this. Another, that might be enough right there. Just on that. Again, working on the back, keeping the back long. Now, if you want to experiment with coming down a little bit lower, like on your right elbow, give your wrists a little rest. Basically, that's fun. It's not going to be much more of a stretch for the hips, but it gives your wrists a little stretch. I'm sorry, it gives your wrist a little break, a little rest. All right, we're just kind of isolating the left hip, feeling the sensation of pulling in the muscles there around that hip. All right, it's just such a good one for opening the hips. I'll just hang out here for a little bit. You can rock a little bit where it feels appropriate, right? And no one can tell you where that is. No one can tell you exactly what to do with your own body. You're the expert on your own body, right? We're just kind of exploring and experimenting with different poses here. Okay, let's come out of this pose. Take your time. Come back onto all fours, tabletop, and then downward dog when you're ready. All right, maybe make sure your elbows are straight, locked, shoulders are strong, and then lifting the knees up. Coming to downward dog. Okay, and then let's try the other side. Step the right foot forward. Right hand goes on the inside here. Bending that right knee, lowering the left knee, uncurling the left toes. The back toes are uncurled here. And here again, I'm just kind of notice I'm swaying my hips a little bit just to get just to find that stretch there, find where it feels good, right? You want to have a sense of ease in the body, a sense of a space in the body, especially around that right hip. That's what we're looking for. And yes, there'll be a little pulling as well. So it may not be comfortable in some ways, but in other ways, it may be creating space. Right. So I'm just like rocking the hips a little bit. Explore this, explore. Maybe you're just kind of swaying the hips side to side a little bit. You can focus on the placement of the foot, right? Moving that foot around. Where's a good placement for that foot? So you get a nice opening to the hip joint there, right? You can also experiment with how high you are off the ground as far as how much space is between your sternum and the floor, right? This is where coming down on the elbows might be an interesting thing to experiment with, maybe, right? An experiment, maybe that creates a deeper stretch, maybe. And again, now the hips are a little bit more tricky to stretch because the muscles are much shorter, much smaller there, as opposed to the hamstring, which is a very long muscle, and you can really kind of get a sense of the belly of the muscle. But with the hips, it's a little bit trickier. So just be careful here. If you're feeling any kind of sharp pain, that's a pain you want to avoid. But as long as you're feeling a sense of stretch, but spaciousness, but ease as well, like this kind of these contradictory sensations that simultaneously there might be a little discomfort, but at the same time there may be, that this is exactly what my body needs, right? So you got to use your intuition here. You could experiment here with pressing the base of your big toe down, right? See how that feels. And then just kind of drawing your trunk forward a little bit. All right. Oh man, this is wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So let's begin to transition out of the pose. Take your time. You may have created some alternative stiffness in the hips as a result of that. We do yoga to get out of the stiffness, and sometimes we end up creating stiffness too. So let's just be aware of that and slowly let the muscle return to its original shape. And let's at the same time bring the feet forward. Touch the soles of the feet together. Clasp the hands around the ankles. Now we get the inside of the hip, just kind of at another angle. We're still just warming our body up. Again, focusing on the hips. This is the insides of the hips now are getting a stretch. Those muscles there, we're pulling them away from each other, right? Or away from the joints. The muscles are attached to the joint on either side. We're pulling those muscles away from the joint as we extend the back up, as we keep our back straight and fold from the hips. Nice. Again, sense of spaciousness is what we're looking for. All right. And then extending, let's bring the right hand behind the back to keep the back upright. Extend the right leg forward. All right. Toes pointing straight up towards the ceiling. If you can, press the knee down towards the mat to really get that stretch in the back of the leg. Again, we're focusing now on the back of the muscles in the back of the leg, both the hamstrings and the calf muscles. And the hands, we don't have to do a lot with the hands and shoulders. It's mainly the head to the knee. That's the focus here. They just try to discourage people from thinking they have to touch their toes and then put the stretch up in the upper part of their back. So bringing it down into your leg and let the weight of your trunk settle down, right? Settle down. Internally rotate the right thigh. Okay. All right, let's try the other leg. All right, reverse those legs. Use your hands behind your back to make your back upright, and then again coming forward. All right, rounding the back, but really, really focusing on the back of the leg. Even pressing the knee down, internally rotating the thigh just a little bit. All right, and then coming back up to seat. Let's just sit cross-legged for a second. Let the muscles kind of like a rubber band come back to their original shape. You might feel a little change there, maybe more spaciousness as a result of that stretching. Maybe, right? Okay. Focus on keeping the back strong by lengthening it up, tucking the chin a little bit. All right, see how you're feeling thus far. All right, let's get the back stretched a little bit before we do a sun salutation or two or three. So go ahead and come down onto your back, grab hold of your knees, and let's stretch out those back muscles a little bit by rocking the body right and left. Rocking the body right and left. I've got my head lifted off the floor. That just makes it, I don't know, you can do it you can try with the head on the floor if you want. But I'm doing it with my head off the floor. Seems like it feels better for me today. And then a rocking forward and backward. And you can really exaggerate this rock. Come almost up onto your shoulders, and then almost sitting up. Right? So just holding on to my knees, rocking. Let's get the back stretched out here. Get some space in the vertebrae of the spine. All right, and when you're ready, come on up to a seat. Let's turn the mat. Well, you don't have to turn the mat. Let's make our way to stand. Let's make our way to standing. So we'll do some sun salutations, and these are meant to stretch the whole of the body. Right. So we're seeing the body not so much in pieces like we have been thus far, but seeing the body as a whole, as one whole. All right, so making our way up to the top. All right. You can roll the shoulders a little bit, kind of a preliminary here, rolling the shoulders back and down. And then rolling the shoulders forward and down. Let's get the neck too. Bring the chin to one shoulder, down towards the sternum, up to the other shoulder, down. Get the neck involved here. It's the U shape, gentle U shape with the chin. And back to center. Okay. Another thing I want to do is swing the arms. I get the energy in the body moving here by swinging the arms. And this is just like as if you were swinging on a swing, right? The arms become the swing, and the body is stationary like the poles on the swing set. So the body stays still, it's just the arms that are moving. Right. Okay, and I'm going to shake out the arms a little bit, shake the hands. Let's do another warm up. We haven't gotten to, we'll get to the sun salutation, I promise, but we just do a few more warm ups before we get there. All right, so the first one is the roll ups, where we bend our knees, hands come down, and then roll up at your own pace. You could adjust the speed if you want to go slower to really feel what you're feeling in your back and those muscles along the vertebrae, I should say. Right, and then just continue to roll forward, then coming back up, rolling up. The weight of the top of the body is allowing those muscles on either side of the spine to stretch a little bit. And let's also, I would be neglectful if we didn't also turn our body to one side and do it so that you're isolating muscles on one side of the back, one side of the vertebrae, right? Just to get a sense of those muscles. And then back over to the other side, right? See if you can relax the muscles in the neck and arms and shoulders as you do this to get the most benefit out of the stretch. Because if we're holding on with the neck muscles and the shoulders as we do this, they're just going to stay kind of tight up there. So see if you can work on disengaging the muscles in the shoulders and neck especially towards the top of this stretch, as you're more and more standing up. And you may want to slow the movement down, so you really give your body a chance, the muscles in the neck and shoulders, a chance to disengage. All right, we just do this maybe another 30 seconds or so, maybe longer if you need to. Okay, hopefully you guys got it. All right, if you want to do more, you're welcome to. Let's do one shoulder stretching exercise. So for this one, you need a wall, and you need to stand next to the wall. I'm going to start out with my left hand up top at 12. This is the shoulder clock. Starting with my left hand up at 12 o'clock, the 12 o'clock position, and pressing gently my armpit into the wall. Now, also simultaneously kind of turning my torso towards the center of the room. Not away, this would be away from the center, this is towards the center. So it's just a small movement here. All right. And then bringing that left hand down to about 11 o'clock. Right, and pressing the shoulder, like we're trying to open up the outside, or the inside of the shoulder, trying to open up the inside of that left shoulder. Keep the elbow straight, as straight as you can. And that'll give you a stretch across the bicep and the forearm as well. And then going down to, let's just go down to 9 o'clock, the left arm. Right. Stretching the inside of the shoulder. And down all the way to 6 o'clock and just rest. Let the arm rest. Left arm rest at 6 o'clock. If you're like me, you may have some pins and needles in your hand. Those will go away fairly quickly, assuming you have good blood flow or halfway decent blood flow to your extremities. All right, let's try the right arm. We're reaching that one up there towards 12. Opening up the armpit here. This is kind of similar to what we do when we're doing child's pose with both arms stretched out on the mat in front of us when we're doing it from the floor. But then when we bring the hand down to 1 o'clock, we're doing a different set of muscles here. We're working on the inside of the right shoulder. Keep the elbow straight as you gently turn your trunk towards the center of your room. You can even look over your left shoulder if that works for you, or just approach the left shoulder. And then 10 o'clock. Or not 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, somewhere in there. 2, 3 o'clock, somewhere in there. We're really stretching the inside of that muscle. All right, that's good, good. And then let it back down to 6. Again, we have some pins and needles in the hand there. Just give a little shake, a little wiggle, and bring your hands, just kind of rub your hands a little bit, and it should disappear pretty quickly. All right, see how your shoulders are feeling? Now, we worked on mainly the insides of the shoulders. Let's work the outsides. So one way to do that, take your left arm underneath your right and just press it just towards the opposite shoulder. So now we're focusing on the outside of the right shoulder. I'm doing my right shoulder. Right? And then shake that out. Right arm underneath the left arm and pulling towards the right shoulder. Pulling the left shoulder towards the right. Right? That gets the outside of the shoulders. Okay. So we've done the insides, the outsides a little bit. See how your shoulders are feeling. Maybe roll them back a little bit. Okay. Let's do one strengthening pose for the legs. Get the legs involved here a little bit. So generally, we want to strengthen the legs and the back. Keep those legs and back strong. So one thing we can do is chair pose. It's such a simple and a deceptively easy pose to do, where you're just bending the knees a little bit, keeping the back straight, arms raised, show about shoulder height or so. Right. And just hold there. All right. Work towards getting the back straight as you're bending the knees. All right, let's go ahead and stand. Now you can do that pose much longer if you wanted to. You want to really focus on strengthening the thigh muscles and the muscles around the knees. All right, let's bring the feet together towards the front of the mat. They don't have to be touching. In fact, my feet are about hip width apart here. Bringing the hands in front of the heart, reaching them forward and up, inhaling, lifting the chin up, exhaling and folding. Let's try to exhale through the nose. Inhaling through the nose, left foot back. Take some inhales and exhales through the nose here. Exhaling, downward dog. Get a few breaths here. Okay. All right, and then lowering the knees down. We have our guest coming from upstairs. Hi. All right. Lowering the knees down, bending the elbows, right? And the chin comes down towards the mat, the tailbones raised, and then coming forward and down. All right, elbows tucked into the sides, feet pressed together, toes pointed. Let's use the back muscles now to lift up our head, neck, and shoulders. Pushing up, stretch out the core muscles a little bit, and then downward dog. All right, stretching the backs of the legs. Left foot stepping forward. And right foot forward. Arms overhead. And back. Palms in front of the heart. Breathe in and out through the nose. There's a lot of scientific evidence that points to the benefits of nasal breathing as opposed to mouth breathing. That's particularly the case when we're not doing cardiovascular work. If you're doing a lot of heavy exercise, then of course you need to get more oxygen in and you have to breathe through the mouth. But when you're doing everyday tasks or engaging in yoga like we're doing right now, breathing in and out through the nose is definitely preferable to mouth breathing. All right, let's do one more sun salutation for today. Ready? I'm reaching the arms forward and up, breathing in, bending back, and then folding forward. Right foot back. Let's do a little twist here. Plant the right hand, lift the left. Lift the left arm for a little twist. Okay, lower the left. Left foot back, downward dog. Lower the knees, lift the tailbone. Notice the abdomen sags down. Bend the elbows. Bring the head forward and onto the ground. Feet come together, toes pointed, lifting the head. Push into the hands, will stretch out the core. And then back to down dog. Elbows straight. Lock the elbows. Just a lot easier to lock those elbows. Right foot stepping forward. Plant the left hand, lift the right arm. Circle it up there. Little twist here. It's nice to turn the head left and right, get a sense of your range of motion in your neck. Okay, lower the right, stepping the left foot forward. Okay, stretching the back of the legs one last time today. Raise the head, arms up and back, palms in front of the heart. All right, some nasal breaths here. Okay, wonderful. Let's transition now to deep relaxation. So go ahead and lay down on your back. highly recommend, especially when it's cold outside like this, putting a layer of clothing on. I'm grabbing my socks to put those on. What are the obstacles for yoga? What are the obstacles? Ignorance, seeing that this small self is ourself, right? This idea that this body is me. Ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, clinging to bodily life. All those five things are the obstacles to attaining samadhi, attaining freedom. So let go of all those. In the practice of yoga nidra, we practice dying to the self here. And that dying entails of us the wonderful and enjoyable practice, I think, of relaxing all of the muscles in the body. We get to consciously relax the muscles. We're given permission to relax the muscles because most of us have been told it's not good to relax or that we're too lazy or something like that. So we really benefit, at least I do, being told, hey, it's a good thing to relax all of the muscles in the body. So we'll start with the feet, doing a body scan and relaxing the muscles going up towards the head. So let's start with the feet. Relaxing the lower legs from the feet up to the knees. And then the knees up to the hips. And the hips up through the bottom of the rib cage. So really focusing on the abdominal region of the body. That includes not only the muscles in that region, but also the vital organs, all of those digestive organs. They do so much more than digest, but we're just relaxing all those organs, all the muscles around the organs in the abdominal region of the body. Okay, and then moving up into the rib cage, all the intercostal muscles surrounding not only the front of the rib cage, but also the back of the rib cage, the shoulder blades, as well as the organs that the rib cage is protecting, namely the heart and the lungs, the diaphragm.
connected to the rib cage is the spine in the back of the body. So just getting a sense of the back, and anywhere you notice tightness or stiffness, see if you can send a mental signal to your back asking it to relax. And that includes the back of your neck. And let's transition then to the skull, the head. So all kinds of muscles in the head, especially in the face, especially around the forehead. That's where we can really see the benefits of deep relaxation when we disengage the muscles around the forehead, around the temples, including the eyes even, right? Just relaxing all those muscles in that region. And now let's relax the whole body from head to toe. And then transitioning to our breathing, and let go of the physical body, focusing on the breath, body. And then from here, letting go of thoughts, noticing whatever thoughts might be arising in the mind, watching them like a witness. And any sense of ease that you feel in your body, just kind of enter into that. All right, and when you're ready, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, roll the legs a little bit, arms, stretch out the legs, the arms. Roll to one side, make your way up to a seat. Of course, take your time. If you need to spend more time laying down, you're welcome to do so. I've got a sense of how you're feeling here. Making them back long. Ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, and clinging to bodily life. These are the hindrances to our practice. Let's remember, let's remember the big self, right? We are much more than this body. As much as we love our body and we take good care of our body, we're also the entire universe. That's what Tenchi Ippai no Shomei means. All right. May all beings be safe. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. Thank you. Thank you. All right.